Hello again, and we are going back into dungeons in the Battle for Azeroth Alpha. Welcome to the Underrot. And we are playing Blade Death Knight. Let's get our burn shields ticking, let's grip this big guy in and let's get rocking. Okay, so the Blood Death Knight differs a little bit to other tanks in that it's got a permanent form of active mitigation. And oh, wrong button. Ah, oh, gotta love Death Grip. These guys charge to the furthest away target, which is obviously annoying, but if you're a Death Knight it's not a problem. Whoa, dude, calm down. So as I was saying, Death Knights have got a permanent form of active mitigation with Burn Shield. So how do they balance that? They balance it by making it really weak, which is fair. If it's got 100% uptime, don't fucking pull for me. Jesus, I hate people like this. So if I look up on my stats, you can see that with Burn Shield on, I've got 44.78% armor reduction. Can't interrupt that. Constitution. Yeah, bad. So that's how Death Knights are currently working. They've got quite low compared to like they're really solid. Yeah, they've got this constant value that's really solid. It's just that other classes can spike higher. I'm really not liking these guys pulling like this. Really not liking it. Here we grip them together. Interrupt that blood ball. Don't forget to get your stacks on. I'm actually going to AMS because that guy seems to be targeting me with something pretty nasty. Get my Death and Decay back down. Okay, so that's the main thing with the Death Knight, yeah? So what's actually changed? So you've lost a lot of things through artifact, as have everyone. But with this build that released all these dungeons, this is a boss by the way. Time for a sacrifice! With this latest build that did all these dungeons, Death Knight for Blood at least got I wouldn't necessarily call it like a tuning pass or anything, but it definitely got some changes. So what this boss does, it runs this green crap and it travels and diseases people. I don't know if you can death grip these, but if you can, that'd be interesting. Nope. I guess I can stun them with Asphyxiate. So this boss is all about avoiding the green shit on the floor and interrupting as many of these blood bolts as you possibly can. That's all it really comes down to. Nothing special, really uninteresting boss. You can always tell where the creeping bot's going to go because like the face direction and then it gets cast in that direction. So it's really simple to avoid. And then she respawns. Right, so as she's dying, let's open up the talent tree and talk about stuff that's new or changed. Loot her and move onwards. Okay, so in the first row we've got Rune Strike. Rune Strike is basically blood tap, but it does damage. It's a 45-second cooldown. Oh sorry, 1 minute recharge. Like, I think that got nerfed actually then. Keep pressing Wraith Walk instead of Death and Decay. So yeah, it's a recharge effect with 2 charges, and it allows you to generate runes, which is pretty nice. Does reasonable damage as well, 1400. On to the next row. Let's consumption these in a couple of seconds to counter this. Consumption, yes, it's there. It's actually on the next row that we're about to talk about. So consumption, it's exactly the same as it is on live if I'm not mistaken. It's 45-second cooldown, does damage and heals you. I don't know how that pops back up. You've just got to bear in mind though, it doesn't have the leech effect which makes it OP. It's just standard consumption that you get at a like low level. Let's get all my stuff down. Wave Decay. Lost my bone shield because I'm Like this is the first time I actually played Blood Death Knight on the alpha, so still not quite there. These spidery looking type things actually fixate on people, so you gotta watch out for that. Let's open the talent tree up again. As we round up more of this stuff, and we'll. Oh god, what am I doing? Oh, that's nasty. AMS. Got clipped by a lot of stuff there. That's consumption. Lost my bone shield again. Let's use them rune taps to stock up that fucking bone shield quickly, because it keeps falling off. This many mobs. It's a lot of things to shoot through your bone shield quickly. You've got to be careful. Rampant growth is the frontal, where it spews a load of green shit. Okay, so back onto this. Rapid decomposition, that's just basically a DPS increase, unless you count the healing from Blood Plague, but that's not really much to shout about. Hemostasis, however, that's the legendary shoulders, and it functions exactly the same, actually. If you hit the mouse over it, it stacks up to 5 times, 10% healing and damage done on death strike. With that guy. Try and get them bone shields back. I'm really starting to get low on them. Almost cleared the trash to the boss. Then we've got Rune Tap. Rune Tap got nerfed. It actually is only 30% instead of 40 now. And I'm going to be honest, that's pretty fair, because it's actually really strong, because of the whole, you know, fuck you tanks, you're not going to have magic damage reduction anymore kind of attitude that Blizzard have got with their BFA. So having access to Rune Tap is actually a huge deal. Let's consumption this. Stun this guy since it's going for that hunter. Okay. And anti-magic barrier is now the legendary cave. Okay, onto the boss. Let's talk about the boss. Let's get some cooldowns running first. So this boss has got 2 abilities. Currently, at least. He's probably going to have more later. Indigestion being one of those abilities. He spews out a load of shit that you don't want to stand in, and then these little worms are left on the floor. Those you want to just run over, because if you don't run over them, they hatch. And his other ability is Charge, where he focuses a random player and runs at them doing damage. Let's just run over all these things. Indigestion again. So yeah, we're just running around, picking up all these things, making sure they don't hatch, and that makes this boss super easy. Like, ridiculously easy. As long as you do the mechanics, the boss is easy. Who would have thought, right? Sounds preposterous. So that was the second boss. So we're going to move up here now. So yeah, if you don't know what the cape is, less cooldown and it lasts longer and absorbs more. Okay, I could control undead here, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to bother complicating things more than I need to. However, as a Blood Elf, I will be able to AoE dispel this, which is the bone shield and everybody. If I actually put it on my bars, that is. Oh my god. The problems of just respecking and not having everything fully sorted out. Terrible. So we'll just kill all these things. Tightening Grasp is still the same, pretty much. It reduces the cooldown. Grip of the Dead is the slow for Death and Decay, except it's now 90% slow, but it decays over time. The Match of the Damned is the same as it was. Foul Bulwark, I believe, has been nerfed. I'm pretty sure it's 2% on live, but it's 1% here, so it's not that great. Ossuary is a bit weird. This got reworked. Gives you more max bone shield stacks and increases max runic power. And Tombstone, which I've taken. God damn it. Tombstone is exactly what it is on live, if I'm not mistaken, but I've taken it just because I thought maybe I can make good use of it. Let's use our Reaper magic to dispel the bone shield. Kind of forgot about that one. Yeah, we'll put a skull on this guy here. Voracious. Death Strike gives you 15% leech for a few seconds. Not going to complain about that. Can't stun this, can't interrupt this. It's going to get this whole thing off. Bloodworms are still shit, Mark of Blood's still shit, Red Thirst is the same, Blood and Storm the same, Pegatra is the same. Alright, let's go. Got need to keep that thing open anymore. This is a boss. And this boss can do a lot of damage to you. You've got to be careful with your positioning. So all these mushrooms that spawn do a shit ton of damage if you stand on them. But you need to make sure that as many of them disappear as possible. Because when he gets to 100 energy, I think he like pops them all, which is pretty horrific. But his shockwave and his upheaval abilities actually allow you to destroy the mushrooms, which is obviously very useful. So as the tank, you've just got to kind of move around the room in a way that points him at the mushrooms for when he actually does it. We've got a lot of damage in this group, by the way. Compared to previous runs, that thing died so fast. So fast. Okay, so we've got a patrol there. I guess we'll pull it up here. Raise dead. And find my blood operational. There it is. Use it and drag it onto my bars. Oh my. Let's use consumption. And let's use Vamp Blood as well. A lot of damage there. That's probably because I don't have my bone shield on. Yes, I suck at Blood Death Knight. I'm better at live, but on live it's a lot easier to get bone stacks because of the artifacts. That's probably why it feels so strange to me at the moment, actually. We can probably just ignore that void god dude. The faceless dude. Move down the side here. Oh, we've got a snake thing. Disrupt that. Get my diseases rolling. So yeah, Blood Death Knight, although it's got lower base armour, like when you take the active mitigation and such into account, it's got its strengths of self-healing are still really prevalent, especially with this like leech that you can get on Death Strike, and you've got ways of mitigating damage to Rune Tap and other such things. It feels pretty decent, even though it can maybe get hit passively a little harder than other classes right now. But it's not so bad. And having access to a couple of things like the legendaries as talents, for example, that helps. Maddening Gaze, I believe, is like a frontal attack, but it's also got this shit that summons tentacles. Interrupt the Death Bolt. So to play this optimally, you want to try and track your Death Strikes so that you don't try and Death Strike unless you need to, obviously, without overlapping the leech effect and stuff like that. There's a few little intricacies that can probably come into effect with this class, or this spec rather. But I'm actually enjoying it so far. I'm not using all the abilities as best I could be, but... Oh, I got feared. Okay, I didn't know that was the thing. Come here. Okay, approaching the end of the dungeon now. So yeah, fundamentally it's the same as in Live, where you keep your diseases up, you keep your runes spending, try and keep your bone shield stacks up. But it's got a couple of new toys with the it's got Death Advance, it's got the Reap Magic, and it's got all these new talents that have been tweaked in some way, for the most part. I'll link that down below as well. God damn it. Why did they have to pull? These guys just got no fucking chill. I'll use my Dancing Rune Weapon. Dancing Rune Weapon is a 2-minute cooldown, by the way. Pretty sure it's not that way on live. So this boss, he absorbs all damage and eventually... God, stop running away from the tank when you've got aggro. Jesus, I fucking hate people. So we'll deal with that, and this... Actually, the Titan Keeper dealt with that itself. God damn it. Come here. Yeah. So you've got to make sure this Vile Eruption is always pointed away. well, actually, he looks at a certain person and then does it, so just move out of the front where he's facing. I've lost my bone shield. Let's use some rune strikes to top myself up a bit. Vile eruption again. Got that thing over there. We'll rip it in. We'll taunt that one. Get that bone shield up again. We've got 8 stacks of the thing now, which is pretty bad. Use AMS here. It might prevent the dot overlapping, maybe? This boss is quite interesting. People have got to really be on the ball with avoiding stuff and switching to the adds when they can. Let's use Vampire again just to make it easier on the healer. That eruption. It very much likes announcing his abilities. Taunt that. So they're starting to take quite a bit of damage here. So I need to find a way through. Just try and get through here. Let's pop rune tap in case we have to on there. Use IBF. Pop that anti-magic shell again. So it's all about ad control. You got to damage the boss to make him spawn the ads, and then kill the ads. And each ad that gets killed does 10% of his hit HP, causing him to eventually die. That's the first time I've actually one-shot this boss, because most people don't react in a relevant way to actually make this as successful as it could be. I guess I actually can't, never mind. I was going to res him, but it costs runic power. I'm really not used to that idea. See you later. I cannot type properly. Yeah, that's the Underrot on a Blood Death Knight. So again, Blood Death Knight, at its very core, it's very much the same. But obviously, you've lost the God, I can't speak today. You've lost the group utility, where consumption is something that you have just because you have an artifact on. Now it's a talent, but it does the same thing. But you don't have the artifact trait that makes it so that everyone gets leech. You've still got Death Grip. I need to make a macro for that so I actually target myself. I was actually fucking that up quite a bit. Forgot about that. Yeah, but you've got some new stuff. Like I said, you've got Rune Tap, that's new. Consumption's kind of new. Hemostasis is the old legendary. Anti-magic barrier is like the cape legendary. Slight nerf to Rune Tap. Tightening Grasp is the same, more or less. You've got slows here, a bit more slow there. That's been nerfed. That's new. I didn't actually use Bone Storm. That was a bit of a mistake. But yeah, it feels pretty solid. Although other tanks can like prepare for damage and actually use the proper active mitigation, Demon Spikes, Shield of the Righteous, Iron Fair, stuff like that. Death Knight has to rely more on its actual cooldowns to be able to do stuff like that, which is why Rune Tap is really good. And obviously you've got magic immunity for application of dots and stuff, as well as damage reduction on anti-magic shell. It's got a lot of nice tools that can make it work pretty nice. So I'm pretty happy where Blood Death Knight stands at the moment. So that is how it is. Underrot, Blood Death Knight. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.